What up, fam? James Balmer TV. Yeah, right now, let's get into Tyrese, bro. I came prepared today, bro.
Tyrese, I gotta ask, what's your reaction to the number the judge put on you? It's a big number, you know? How you holding up?
I'm inspired. It's not about me. What just happened today happens every day in the family law court system.
Okay.
Fathers have no rights, period. So the bigger the ass whooping that I get in court, the more it's going to shed light on what has been happening since the beginning of time. This is not about me. I will never not take care of my daughters, whether I'm with their mother or not. I will never not. But it's not okay to call us deadbeat dads when we're hustling, grinding, traveling, doing whatever it takes to put food on the table and take care of our families, which will cause us naturally to be physically away from our kids, and then that get used against us in court because the mother may be more available than you. And then when you don't have a job, when you're struggling and you're trying to pull it together, independent of a pandemic, we get emasculated when we're at home and we're out of a job. So at the end of the day, he just pulled out the biggest light imaginable on him, his conduct, him literally making up things on the fly. What he did as a sitting judge was literally abuse of power, egregious, and all the above. And that's it, man. There is no such thing as a little boy, a little girl, without at some point mommy and daddy getting together to make a decision. So I'm inspired because I believe that there's going to be a law, multiple laws in place in the city of Atlanta that will refer to Gibson and Gibson. Your Honor, that's wrong. Gibson and Gibson, blah, blah, blah. And they'll be able to make reference to case law pertaining to what's going to happen. And I'll do whatever it takes and I'll spend whatever it takes to turn this all around. Not just on behalf of my daughters, but on behalf of every father who cannot afford proper representation or have any type of voice. So I'm not thinking about me. I'm really, really passionate about this. And just maybe God has created all these bad, perfect storms and scenarios for me to be a part of affecting change.
It seems odd that the lawyer gets more money than your child.
Yeah, well, that's $500,000
to the lawyer.
I had a prenuptial agreement. That's two law firms representing Samantha. The one and only check that she cut was 2.5 years ago for $7,500. And they just said, you don't have to pay us anything else because they were banking on a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So congratulations to them. I'm going to do whatever it takes to turn it all around.
All right, last question, man. Look, you got to pay by May 15th. Is that, you're going to appeal that? You're fighting that, obviously.
We're going to do whatever it takes. I can't go into any more specifics. I've shared all that I can share.
Sure.
But, it's we're in a place, man. And that's it.
Are you prepared to pay it if you have to?
I could have.
All right.
Tyrese, I got to ask.
All right.
What's your Tyrese, I got to ask. What's your...
All right. Enough said, right? Time to lock and load. I came prepared today, like I said. Came prepared today. Now, the first thing I want to say is Tyrese doesn't understand how this shit works. Right? He's talking about he has too much faith in this. This ain't a court. Child support is not a court. They rented a space in the courthouse and they're acting like government officials. They're not. They're all contractors. I came prepared today. See this paper right here? Child support They're magistrates and quasi-judges. Magistrates and quasi-judges. See? Support magistrates. Support magistrates shall be appointed as non-judicial. Right here, you see this? Support magistrates shall be appointed as non-judicial. That means they do not have authority. They do not have power. They're non-judicial. Non-certified public accountant. Look right here. Look right here, right? Where is it? Non-certified public accountant, not a licensed tax preparer, not a licensed bookkeeper, not a licensed financial advisor. So they do not have none of these qualities, but yet they're gonna tell you how much to pay, how much you owe, and all this. They don't have license. They're not certified public accountant. They're not tax preppers. They don't do. They're not licensed bookkeeper. They're not licensed financial advisor. They're non-judicial. So what are they? What are these magistrates and quasi judges? They're imposters. That's what they are. They don't have a license. They don't have a look. This is what you do when you go to court for child support, right? The first thing you do. This is what Tyrese don't understand. The first thing you do is you challenge the jurisdiction of the court. You ask the judge for an oath of office. You ask the judge to see his oath of office. You say, "Excuse me, are you a judge?" They can't say that they're a judge because they're not. They're quasi-judges and magistrates. They're not real judges. They're imposters, right? Because they're not doing it under the law of the Constitution. They're not doing it under the law of the land. They're doing it under contract. Let me show you something else. I came prepared today, baby. I came prepared today. Okay? Okay, I got a bunch of goodies right here. For all you guys out there that's going through this child support bullshit, let's get it. Let's get it. Right here, you can actually go to Google and type in positive law title, and it comes up on the government website. It explains. Go to a website, United States Code, positive law, where it tells you about positive law title, right? Now, this is where child support is housed under. Child support is housed under Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare. This is what houses the child support title. And right here it says Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare, is a non-positive law title. Title 42 is comprised of many individual enacted federal statutes, such as the Public Health Service Act and the Social Security Act, that have been editorially compiled and organized into the title, but the title itself has not been enacted. It has not been enacted in positive law. See, right next to that, I put, I don't know if you could see, hold on, right here. Never enacted into positive law. So, child support has never been enacted into positive law because Title 42, which houses the public health and welfare, is a non-positive law title. And what does all this mean? What does a non-positive law title means? It means it's not law. Child support there is not law. It has never been enacted into positive law, which means it is not law. They're doing it under a contract. So how do they get you? Well, the way that they get you is because they trick you into signing papers. They trick you into coming down to the courthouse and admitting that you have a debt. Because, let me see. Okay. Okay, where is okay, there is a law in the Constitution that is due process law. Now you can look this up. You can look up due process, right? Due process states that no company, no, because basically child support is a company. It's a privately owned company. It's a company um, owned by the federal government, and it's a hold on. Give me a second. I came prepared. I'm just trying to go step by step so you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so it's a federal program operating in the state. It's a partnership between the state and the federal government, which is illegal. And the reason why it is illegal is because the separation of powers mandate states that the three branches of government, the administrative branch, the judicial branch, and the federal, cannot partner. They cannot create a privately owned company to violate your rights. And that's what child support is. There is no law that requires a man to pay child support. And there's a reason for that. Because according to positive law, which is the Constitution, the Constitution was built upon the laws of the Bible, which means no man could violate another man's rights. So the reason why there's no law that requires a man to pay child support is because the man supposed to be the head of the household, which in the Bible it states that Adam was the head of the household. God took a rib from Eve. I mean, God took a rib from Adam and created Eve as a servant. So if you look back in history, if you look back in the olden days, when law was righteous, now they have corrupted it with these corporations, right? The man was the head of the household. The woman had to do what the man said. The children belonged to the man. The wife belonged to the man. If you don't believe me, go watch The Last Kingdom. I think it's called the Final Kingdom or The Last Kingdom. When they go back in time and they see how men were men. Men were warriors. Men went out and fought. The children belonged to the man. The children did not belong to the woman. The man was the head of the household, and that's how it should be. I don't care. I mean, I know there's women out there that say, no, we should be able. Yo, why you think society is so fucked up right now? Anyways, that's for another story, right? Let's get back to what I was saying, right? So, the federal government created a program, a privately owned. This is privately owned. This is not like non-profit. You know what I'm saying? Like non-profit. See, they should make child support non-profit so that way it doesn't get abused. But it's not. It's a privately owned company for profits, and they're taking bribes. So let's start I'm gonna break it down step by step how this is completely illegal, right? So first of all, it's a federal program operating in the state. It's a partnership between the state and the federal government, which is illegal because it violates our rights. Rights cannot be changed. You know what I'm saying? You're born with rights. That's why child support can never be enacted into positive law, because you're not born with rights. You're born with rights. Like the freedom of speech, the freedom to travel, the freedom to be free. The only time where you violate and you do a crime is if you damage somebody's property or you injure someone. That's the only laws. Other than that, if unless you violate somebody else's rights, you damage their property or you injure them. That's the only laws. Everything else is made up. It's made up so they can use us as slaves and cattle. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So what is a partnership? Because a partnership between the state and the federal government is illegal, like I said before, because it violates our rights. You know what I'm saying? It violates our rights because a partnership between the federal government and the state, it violates the separation of powers mandate. Look it up. Okay, so this is what a partnership is, right? A voluntary contract between two or more competent persons. Excuse me if I'm trying to rush through this, so I'm messing up. To place their money, efforts, labor, and skills, or some or all of them, into lawful commerce or business, with the understanding that there shall be a proportional sharing of the profits and losses between them. So it's a business. So child support is a business. It's not lawful. It's a company. They're service providers. Go on the child support website and look and read they're service providers. And the way that they trap you into their web, you have to agree. So my advice, when you go into this courthouse, if you go to the courthouse, if you go to the hearing like Tyrese goes, the worst thing that you could do is have a lawyer. Because when you have a lawyer, the lawyer has a contract to the bar association. How you think he got his license? So the bar association has a contract with the clerk of courts, which there's a conflict of interest. Your lawyer's already sold out to the clerk of courts because they have a contract. Remember, the bar association where the lawyer got his license from has a contract with the clerk of the courts. So they already have a contract with them. It's a conflict of interest. So don't ever get a lawyer. That's what they want you to do, so you could give up your rights. Because that's the first thing your lawyer is going to do, is give them jurisdiction. You have to go in there, ask the judge for an oath of office with a bond and an insurance policy. So that bond has to be current. So if he violates your rights under color of law, because if it doesn't have a positive law title, like 42, I just showed you, it doesn't have a positive law title, then they're operating under color of law, which they're violating your rights under color of law. Look, this is the separation of powers mandate. Let me see. Separation of powers. Separation of powers is a document of constitutional law under which three branches of government, executive, legislative, and judicial, are kept separate. This is also known as a system of checks and balances, because each branch is given certain powers so as to check the balance the other branches. Each branch has separate powers, and generally each branch is not allowed to exercise the power of the other branches. See? You see what I mean? You see how they're breaking the law? You see how they're completely breaking the law. Let's go back to this right here. Let's go back to the Title 42, which child support is housed under. It was never enacted into positive law. If you don't believe me, check the website. The United States Codes was never enacted into which means they're operating under color of law. Color of law I told you I came with some shit today, boy. Color of law. The only thing I wish I had was everything in order. Because right now, I'm shuffling. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. What is color of law? Well, color of law is this. Like child support, they're operating under color of law because it has a non-positive law title. If it has a non-positive law title, that means it's not law. They're a company. It's like going to Walmart and Walmart telling you have to buy their products. There's child support are service providers. A service provider cannot put you in jail. If I'm a service provider and I sell glasses, right? I sell glasses, right? I can't come to your house and send you a letter and say, hey, if you don't purchase my glasses, I'm going to put you in jail. I'm a service provider. I check your eyes. I check. If you don't come to my office and buy these glasses that you need, I'm going to put you in jail. Child support, they're just service providers. They're contractors. All right, so what is color of law? Color of law refers to an appearance of legal power to act that may operate in violation of law. For example, if a police officer acts with the color of law authority to arrest someone, the arrest, if it is made without probable cause, may actually be in violation of the law. So, color of law is something that appears to be law, but it's really violating your rights, like child support, right? Clearly violating your rights, right? Let's get to, okay, and this right here, right? This is a warning. You could send them one of these. This is a warning. Warning. Violating. Warning. Denial of rights under color of law. Legal notice and warning. Federal law provides that it is a crime to violate rights of citizens under color of law. You can be arrested for this crime. You can also be held personally liable for civil damages, right? So that's federal law. It states that they cannot violate your rights. And they could be held in prison. So how do they get away with this? Through your consent. Because due process laws states that no one can violate your rights under color of law unless it's done through due process. Due process means you have to consent. That's why they have you sign papers when you go to the courthouse. That's why they have you sign child support. That's why they want you to get a lawyer. Because when you get a lawyer, your lawyer will give them jurisdiction. So the best thing to do is walk into court by yourself, ask the judge for an oath of office, ask him if he has a bond with insurance that's current so you could sue him if he violates your rights under color of law. State to them, excuse me, state to the courts. And if you could bring a camera with you in court and have this documented, or get whatever evidence you could get from the lady typing in the court that you are challenging the jurisdiction of the court. I wish to challenge the jurisdiction of the court. The judge is not a true judge. He doesn't have an oath of office. He doesn't have a bond with an insurance. Um, and he hasn't proven to me that he has jurisdiction. If he doesn't have a contract that you signed, some people get tricked into signing a contract. This happened to me with my first baby mother. They tricked me into going to the courthouse and signing a contract. Now, if you did that, it's gonna be much harder because now you have to you have a contract, so you have to prove that they violated your rights by acting as an authority when they were never an authority. You know what I'm saying? They're just contractors. Okay, so this right here talks about peonage, right? And this is a little note that I wrote down, right? It's a little note. But it states right here, peonage, also called debt servitude, is a system where an employer compels a worker to pay off debt with work legally. Peonage was outlawed by Congress in 1867. So even though these people got you in a contract, let's say you did sign a contract, let's say you went in there, you got a lawyer, you didn't know what you were doing, right? And these people did get you in a contract. You're not supposed to go to jail for debt. That's illegal. See, look, the holding of any person to serve or labor under the system known as peonage is abolished and forever prohibited in any territory in the United States. Of all laws, act, laws, resolution, orders, uh, usage of any territory of the state which have been, therefore, as you can see, it has been abolished. It has been abolished. So no one can take you to jail for not paying the debt. It has been abolished in 1867. So they're breaking the law there. There's been cases where they sued, that people have sued. There's been cases where people have sued the Department of Motor Vehicles for suspending their license due to child support, and they've won. They've won, and they've sued them, and they have won. Now let's go back to Blessings versus Freestone, which is a case here. Look at this case really well. Hold on, let me see if I. It's called Blessings versus Freestone. US 329 1997. Right? Now, if you download this and you print it and you turn to this page, you gotta find it. Cause I had to find it when it's about a couple pages in. It seems like 3 pages in, right? This is where child support openly admits that it has nothing to do with the children or the custodial parents. Right? It was not intended to benefit individual children and custodial parents. It is simply a yardstick for the security to measure the system-wide performance of the state's Title 4D program, allowing her to increase the frequency of audits and reduce the state's federal grant. So it's not child support. It reduces the state's federal grant. It's public treasury support. Has nothing to do with the mother of the children is not even the beneficiary. Okay, I got more Blessings versus Freestone. I got a bunch in here. I got a bunch of stuff in here. I got a letter I wrote to them. Another thing is that your right to religion. Your right to religion is being if it's against your religion for a company to profit off your family's pain, if it's against your religion, for a company to profit off your family's pain, that they're violating your constitutional rights right there, because it's against your religion. So these contractors are 45, listen real carefully, 45 CFR 75.2 Title 4D contractors. So let me read some of what I wrote. Dear 45 CFR 75.2 Title 4D contractors, I do not have a contract or agreement with your company. The Title 4D program is a privately owned business for profits and offers services. It is an agreement between, or should I say a partnership, between the federal government and the state. This is a violation of the separation of powers mandate. I do not consent and do not want any of the services that you have to offer. I will never contract with a foreign entity that violates our constitutionally protected rights and freedoms. The Title 4D child support was never intended to benefit individual children or custodial parents, as seen in Blessings versus Freestone, 1997. Due process laws are also violated because when signing a marriage license or a birth certificate, there were no due process safeguards informing people of the consequences of signing those documents. It is completely deception and coercion. My right to religion is violated because it is against my religion for a company to monetize my private family matters and control how I choose to provide for my family or participate in this fraudulent. I will never consent or participate in this fraudulent program. All mail will be returned to sender. Do not waste your time sending mail. I will be traveling to build up my social media presence further. Your services are not required here. I do not consent. Now make sure that you tell them that you do not consent. Make sure that you state that you do not consent. I do not consent. Right? Here is a loss of immunity. If the judge doesn't have an oath of office and they're not a real judge and they're operating under color of law, they lose their immunity, which means you could sue the living shit out of them. You could sue everyone in the courthouse, including the secretaries. Let me see if I can find those papers. I have a mess going on here, but let me see if I can find those papers. I have another special thing that. Okay, see, this is another thing of Blessings versus Freestone, where they openly admit that has nothing to do with the children at all. It's all about paying off the state treasury. Okay, this is something else that you should have in your arsenal, right? This is U.S. Department of Justice. This is a letter, dear colleague. You can look this up. Look at the date. This is a letter that was sent, that was created by the Department of Justice, and it talks about all the corruption that all these companies are getting away with, including child support. So it's very important that you print this, because this proves, it tells you everything that the government is not allowed to do. You got to read this. I can't show you this whole thing, but get this letter, dear colleagues. And this was in March 14th, 2016, that the Department of Justice speaks on all the corruption that's going on, including child support. If you read in here, all the stuff that child support is doing, completely illegal. They're service providers. They're a company, a privately owned company. No privately owned company can get away with all this shit. Tell me, KFC. If KFC came to your house tomorrow and told you if you don't buy our chicken, we're gonna fucking put you in jail. There's no law that requires a man to pay child support. You see all the paperwork I just showed you. I suggest you also get this, due process. Look it up. Look this up, due process, and understand what it is and how they violated your due process. Because when you sign the marriage license or when you sign your child's birth certificate, they did not. They were supposed to tell you the consequences of signing a birth certificate. They were supposed to tell you the consequences of signing a marriage license, and they don't, because they never told me, and they never showed me a video. You know, when you go get a job and they show you a video and they tell you what you're supposed to do at your job, how you're supposed to dress, the consequences of stuff and all this type of stuff. They're supposed to do that to you when you sign a marriage license or a birth certificate. And if they didn't do that to you, they violated your due process rights, which means that contract is void. So even if they made you sign a contract, that contract is void. A birth certificate is not a contract with the child support agency. A marriage license is not a contract with the child support agency. So that violates your due process rights. Now you can start to begin to see how Tyrese doesn't know what's going on. He thinks that that's a judge up there. That's not a judge. It's a phony. It's a quasi judge. It's a magistrate. They don't have an oath of office or a bond. So I came up with these questions to ask. The magistrate. Right? Title. I sent them one of these, which means you could deny. I sent one of these to the child support agency so they can answer my questions, right? Because I have questions. Title 4D program was never intended to benefit individual children or custodial parents. And I put admit or deny. See, they have to fill this up before we move forward with the case. Title 4D program was never enacted into positive law. They have to admit or deny that it was never enacted into positive law. They can't deny it, because if they deny it, they're lying, and I can prove they're lying. So they have to admit it. If they don't admit it, then they have to deny it, and if they don't deny it, they have to admit it. Right? Title 4D program violates separation of powers mandate. The executive branch of government cannot contract with the judicial branch. Admit or deny. See, I sent this to the child support. They left me alone for so long. They still don't talk to me. They haven't taken away my child support yet, but they're scared. They don't know what to do now. This is what Tyrese needs to do. He needs to fire his lawyer. Title 4D program is a privately owned business for profits. A partnership between the federal government and state. Admit or deny. Either way, I got them. If they admit it, they're saying that it's true. If they're lying, I can prove they're lying. Title 4D program is operating under color of law using contracts not in accordance with the Constitution. Admit or deny. Title 4D program violates due process laws by not disclosing the consequences of signing documents, such as the marriage license or the birth certificate. Admit or deny. See, I got him. I got him in a corner. Title 4D magistrates and hearing officers are contractors impersonating judges, non-judicial entities. Admit or deny. See, I got them. They can't say they can't deny it, because I can prove that they are they're not real judges. I could prove it. Now they have to admit it or deny it. A natural living man in a free country cannot be sued into slavery. Admit or deny. A natural living man in a free country cannot be sued into slavery. Forcing free people to sign documents under duress with without consenting violates the right to freedom and liberty. They have to admit or deny. You see? You see? Tyrese has to do this. He has to get rid of his attorney because his attorney is selling him out. His attorney has a contract with the clerk of courts, which is a conflict of interest. His attorney's not gonna tell him this shit that his rights are being violated. His attorney ain't. You know what I'm saying? He got to get rid of his attorney. He could get the Nation of Islam behind him, or the Moors. The Moors are even better. The Moors know about this shit. He has to challenge the jurisdiction of the court. Tell him the marriage license violates his due process because it doesn't disclose the consequences of signing a marriage license. It doesn't. It doesn't tell you the consequences, so they violated his due process. Not only that, it could be against his religion. You know, if they can't violate your religious rights. You know? So I think I showed you enough paperwork, right? So I might get further into this, but for right now, I gave you a ton of information. Look it up. Look it up. There's also a guy on YouTube called the Title 4D Destroyer. You can look him up. He talks a lot about this kind of stuff, right? The Title 4D Destroyer on YouTube. He talks about this a lot, about how they are completely illegal. You know what I'm saying? They're criminals. The Title 4D crime family. You know what I'm saying? And all you women out there that are saying, oh, whatever about guys paying child support. Hey, you the one that opened your legs up. So don't blame the guy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford to take care of your children, then give them to the father. If you're asking the father to pay all this money, right? Because you can't take care of them, because you can't, then why don't you just give the kid to the father? Because obviously you can't afford to take care of them. You can't afford them, so give them to the father. You know what I'm saying? If you can't afford to take care of them. Or how about another solution? The other solution is, I'll take care of my kids when they're with me, and you could take care of them when they're with you. Now we're even, right? The more I see them, the more I take care of them. The more you see them, the more you have to take care of them, and get your lazy ass up. And stop blaming guys for all the mistakes that you made. Because it's not our job to take care of you and pay your bills. No, it ain't. Our job is only to feed our kids. Whether if it's us going to the grocery store, buying bags of groceries and dropping it off to my kids, and buying them clothes and dropping it off to my kids, or when they come with me, I can give it to them. It's not about me giving you money or giving a corporation money, because that's what child support is. It has nothing to do with the children. It has everything to do. I showed you the paperwork proving it has nothing to do with the children. Blessings versus Freestone. It's all about paying the debt of the state treasury, right? So if you can't take care of your kids, give them to the father. And a better solution is, hey, I'll take care of them when they're with me. You take care of them when they're with you. Now we're even. You know what I'm saying? Women are evil because if they conspire to this shit, women have to learn how to take responsibility too. One more thing before I leave. Go to Google and press child support 666. Child support 666. Look, tell me this ain't evil. 42 US code 666 required. Look that up. That's the code for child support 666. Google it. Evil. Like, share, subscribe. If you're new to the channel, hit the notification bell. I'm coming back. This time I'm coming hard. Yeah. Yeah. James Balmer TV. Holla at your boy. Don't forget, I'm here. Like, share, subscribe. We go.